now that you guys have a better understanding of the brain, I want to kind of dive into your story because this is powerful and it is running your life, whether it's good or bad. So you are the writer of your story. So what do I mean by that? Your story is essentially what you believe and know to be true about your life and what's happened to you, okay? Now, your story is either serving you or suffocating you. And I'll explain more about that. But I really want to be clear before I do that this is not to invalidate what has happened to you. And this is very important to understand. Just because you choose to rewrite a new or different story that you feel is going to serve you better than what is currently doing, or if your current story is not serving you or suffocating you, it's keeping you stuck, it's holding you back, whatever, and you choose to rewrite it because you want to move your life into a new direction, it does not invalidate what happened to you. It does not mean that you didn't have bad things happen to you or that you haven't faced trauma or bad situations or that you didn't grow up in a terrible childhood or whatever. So I want to make sure that we are clear on that first, because everybody has had things in their life happen to them that were not ideal, that they didn't ask for, and that is part of our story. But at some point in our lives, we have to kind of ask ourselves, do we want to continue to identify with this story or not? And why we would maybe choose to rewrite the story is because maybe the story is not serving us any longer, right? So something that a mentor taught me years ago was, is that the story you're going with? Okay. And I will literally never forget this. I mean, it stopped me in my tracks. So I was kind of going on, and I was telling him about some of these bad things that had happened to me, and this broken relationship that I had with my mom, and definitely was in a victim mindset, and it was woe is me, and I'm explaining some things that happened to me, and they're true things that happened to me, but and then I was explaining to him why I reacted in a certain situation the way that I did, and it was because of XYZ with my mom and some things about my childhood. Okay, so that was the situation that was happening, and it was a mentor of mine, and he responded to me and said, is that the story you're going with? And I stopped and paused, and then I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, that is the story. And he literally said to me again, I know, but is that the story you want to go with? And it was in that moment that I realized that I could change the story. I could rewrite it. I get to choose what the story is. And really, the story is what you choose. It's not what happened to you, right? So the story that we have about ourselves or about our life or about a situation can always be changing, and it can always be rewritten. It can always be edited. It can always be republished, however you want to think of it. Because sometimes when you go with a new story, when you rewrite your story, when you find a more powerful story that serves you better, that helps you move on from whatever's been keeping you stuck and whatever's been holding you back, like it's a powerful feeling. And again, it's understanding that I still had things happen to me. I still had unfortunate situations in my life. I had to go through these things, but I'm going to rewrite the story because I don't want to continue to walk through life as a victim and feel sorry for myself, because it isn't serving me. It is suffocating me. It is keeping me stuck in a lot of situations in life. And at the time in my life, it was. And the second that I realized that I could change it and rewrite it, like, absolutely changed the direction of everything from that point on, because I decided it was going to look new now. It was going to look different now. And wow, currently you are attached to your story. You're attached to your story. And as we go through life, we will continue to find evidence to support our story, right? So basically, think of it as, let's say you went through some horrible trauma as a kid. And 30 years later, you literally say out loud, well, the reason that I can't, find a good man to love me in a relationship is because of the trauma that I had. You're looking for evidence to support your story, because your story in your mind is that you can't find a good man to love you because of what happened to you. Now, again, it doesn't invalidate what happened to you, but you're choosing that that's your story. And so because of that, you are attracting men into your life that can't fully love you the way that you need to be loved. And again, I'm just using this as an example, but we will always find evidence in our lives to support the story that we have. So, and this mentor of mine said this to me, and I get goosebumps every time I say it. It doesn't matter where the story is rooted from. How can I tell a new narrative that's going to give me more power now? Like, does that not give you chills? It doesn't matter where it's rooted from. How can I tell a new narrative that's going to give me power now? Like, you aren't what happened to you. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. You can take that power and say, like, I'm ready to write a new narrative, because a new narrative is going to support you in getting to the next step in your life, getting it to the next level in your life, right? And we know that our brain is protecting us. And so our brain gets real comfortable with the same story over and over. Our brain loves to get attached and addicted to that story. And then, like I said, we go out into the world and we continue to look for evidence over and over of everything that's happening in our life to support that story. And so then we just say, well, this is just who I am. This is me. I can't change what happened to me. But you're not what happened to you. And you can choose that story. So the next time that you catch yourself saying something out loud, well, it's just the way that I am, or I did that because of what happened to me, I want you to stop yourself and say, hey, Alexis, is that the story you're going with? Or I will literally ask myself sometimes, is that the story I want to go with today? Or is that the story that I want to have about this? And 99% of the time, it's no. This is not the story that I want to have. And I would like to rewrite it. And let's do that. So I will, and we're going to get into your language and how to start rewriting that, reframing it, rewriting it, and recreating your new story. But I think this is huge. And like literally, if you have to go back and watch this section again, go back and watch it again, because it is so powerful. And so then when you can really start to get better at rewriting your own story, you can start to rewrite stories about anything. And it gets fun. It gets fun because you learn how powerful the stories that we tell about our life, our past, our future, like we have so much more control than we even know. Just take control and say, I write the story. I write the story of my life. I write the story of my life, and I choose my future and my destiny based on the stories that I write. Like that right there will change your life.